I want to do a really long piece on this because I think it's super important and I think it helps explain where we're at. I'm just going to make this really brief though, but I would really at some point want to do a longer piece. Um, there's a theory that none of this would be happening if the United States had not started fracking in the mid aughts. So this has been a long time coming. If you figure like 2 decades, right? That the US became sustained, like self-sustaining on gas, and then we're able to export more gas and have continued the gas build out to export relatively cheaply compared to the rest of the world, actually. And therefore, a lot of foreign policy over the last 2 decades has been in aid of exporting more and more of the United States natural gas. I think it probably goes back further than that, given the US history with the Russians and partnerships with the Russians, um, because I think we all know that the Russian government is very unstable and not reliable. So I think some of that has to do with the business environment in Russia was very poor for a very long time, still is, and it's just not a reliable source of fuel. It never has been, and frankly, it never will be. So I think a lot of what's going on is due to kind of a two-pronged thing. One is the Russian instability, and I think Exxon and Chevron and the others kind of learned early on that operating in those kinds of environments is dicey, dodgy, not sustainable. And then when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, it was finally like the decision was made that, yeah, okay, now we really need to ramp up production. And that's when the export licenses were first signed off on by, I believe, the Department of Energy under the Obama administration. Decided that it was time to start exporting for the first time in like 50, 60 years, something like that. Export licenses were given out. And as time has gone on, America has become more and more America is now the largest exporter of liquefied natural gas, and in competition with many other countries. And I think that a lot of what is going on now has to do with that. Maybe you might want to call it a conspiracy theory. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. This was a decision that was made over the past several administrations, at least starting with Obama, but frankly, probably earlier. And that's where we're at. That's why this is happening. So now the Qataris are going to be working in the U.S. to export U.S. liquefied natural gas, and they're not going to be exporting their own. And the Russians, obviously, we all kind of know, well, maybe we all know, I don't know. I should do a longer piece on that too, because the Russians, there's a reason why Druzhba and Nord Stream are offline, and why I personally believe that Turk Stream's probably going to get blown up also.